Every so often you might get a fault show up on your screen saying coil not connected. Now there's a couple of reasons this could be the case. The connection at the brains end of the machine, where this screws into the unit, that could be loose. Or, and what's most probable, is that there's a fault in the cable connecting the coil itself to the brains box, and it's because the cable has been kinked here. Because of the way the thing is made, this coil is fed back up the shaft of the detector, and there's actually a little crimp or a kink, and you can see it right here, and likely the wires inside this cable are cracking, or they're fatiguing after some use, and you're starting to get a coil not connected signal on your screen. Unfortunately, you can either repair the cable, which would probably result in a change in the sensitivity of the coil, or you have to change the coil. Depending on shopping around, that could be anywhere between $300 and $400 for a Minelab CTX 3030 standard 11-inch coil. You might have a different machine, but replacing the coil is really the best way to replace the cable. Now here you can see where the cable unshielded, this is the little fix that I'm going to talk to you about. It comes from the coil. It comes from the coil and feeds up the shaft of the machine. And where it goes through this little cutout section here, the cable rubs, and it'll, because it's a tight turn, it'll get a kink, and the little wires inside the cable can fray. So my suggested fix is to get a little bit of this split conduit tubing. 7mm is the stuff here, and just slide it over this when you install your new coil, because that's probably what you need to do to get your rig back up and working again. And let the rubbing action that happens when your coil angle is changing, let the rubbing happen on this. Make this like a little sacrificial or disposable conduit there. It protects the coil, and hopefully your coil should last a lot longer than it has been. For us, the first one failed after about 5 years, which wasn't too bad. The second one, going after just 2 years, not too impressed with that. Can't really be forking out $300 to $350 a time every couple of years, just because of the way it was made, the coil being perfectly good, but the cable, a couple of little wires in there, it's costing you $300 odd. So hopefully, if you get some of this split conduit, can get it from JCar Electronics if you're in Australia, or any sort of little electronics store. Cable shield, split conduit, should do the trick. Good luck. This is the way the coil is typically mounted when it arrives from the factory on your CTX 3030. You see that, and you can see the tight cable kink that I'm talking about, and how it has to fold around. It makes quite a tight turn to get into that little slot at the bottom of the shaft. There's one thing you can do to decrease the tightness of that angle, and that is to actually turn the coil around 180 degrees on the shaft, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. Here we've rotated the coil by 180 degrees on the mount, and you can see that the cable is far less tightly kinked in order to make its way back up the shaft of the machine. I think this will be a good way to extend the life of that cable.